Um, First of all, Dave, thanks for doing this. I know it's like short notice, and yeah, Killer Miller, Pop. What are your nicknames?
This is actually a lot, Pom.
Please go through like every single one of them that you can remember.
So started off my career as pup, being a youngster.
Nothing to do with Michael Clark.
No, it was just purely like the youngster. I was 21 years old in the Proteas team, and it was came up as pup, Papalopodus. And then there was a A-side tour that I went to Sri Lanka, Rory Kleinveld. I came in with some weird, funky, colourful pajama pants. So funky was one of them. Danger at school, Moose. There was a cartoon character, Moose Miller.
Okay.
Mike Bechet called me that. Masendes.
Okay, all right. We're gonna have to edit, but never mind. No, we won't. We'll leave it there for those who know what that means. I won't ask you to explain.
I thought I'd leave that one for last.
Yeah, okay. That's it. That's the last one.
Yeah, that's
And then I suppose, seeing as we're sitting in India, Killer Miller, that sort of came along, didn't it? It didn't. That's not a South African one.
No. So I scored 100 against RCB back in, I think it was 2013. And from my this is where I think it came from. I started smacking it in all parts of the ground, and the cameras went onto the crowd, and they had a poster, Killer Miller.
All right.
And I think that's where it kind of
Your coffee.
originated.
Grab your coffee.
Thank you very, very much. No, I'm good, thanks.
What's that, cappuccino?
This is cappuccino.
Yeah. I'll have an Americano, please. No milk. Thanks. Okay.
So it was back then.
Okay. 2013. 2008 first class? Is that when you started? How old were you then?
2008.
How old were you in 2008?
I was 18.
You were 18. Okay.
Birthday's in June, so left school obviously November, and then the January 2008 I made my debut. So, yeah.
How about that? That's
18.
That is a very long time ago.
It was. It feels like yesterday, but it is a long time ago.
It also
What is it?
feels, for me, who's kind of watched it all go, it feels weird because I was looking the sort of numbers up and stuff. It feels weird saying you're 35 years old.
Tell me about it, Tom. I don't know where the time's gone. Genuinely still feel younger than what my age is, but yeah, 35, 36 in a couple days time. So more, you can say I'm 36, not 35.
All right, well,
Yeah.
I tried to give him an
Crazy.
extra year, but
Time
yeah.
flies.
In the V, in the tree, you got to do it off. I can't remember. I remember us actually doing this on television. You kind of reciting the whole thing. I want you to go through the story as well because it involves your dad, isn't it? And it was quite nice that at that time it came out of you, or whether you had the confidence, or it was just kind of an exuberance of youth, or it was just a true story that you gave out because it literally worked for you and essentially made you the batter you are in particularly this format.
Yeah. Again, it came out, as you mentioned, just spur of the moment after one of the games, and my dad played cricket back in the day. He actually played, I think it was one first-class game.
Okay.
For Natal, it was the Natal B-side at the time, or Natal...
Yeah, B-side would be B-side.
Yeah, B-side back in the day.
Yeah. Do you know what years? Have any idea? Do you know who he played with?
I will have to Google it. Do you want me?
Okay, go ahead. Yeah,
Because he loves it, because he's on Cricinfo.
All right.
So let me just quickly
Well, there you go.
quickly wrap this up. Yeah, my dad's gonna love this, but
Yeah, I want to know because I'm trying to think who he'd have played with. How old's your dad?
he's 64 now.
64. So
So he would have played. He played with Barry Richards,
Yeah, Barry would have been a bit older, I'm assuming. Yeah.
No, not Barry Richards. Sorry.
No, he'd have been a bit older.
Is it Mike Proctor? No, no, that was older as
Yeah,
well.
also a bit older. So, like Kepler time, you know. So Kepler vessels. Go on, tell me.
So yeah, it's Andrew Miller.
Yeah.
List A.
Right.
17 runs. So he's
And that's not what we're looking for. We're just looking for when.
17 runs. Doesn't have the span.
Yeah.
89 to 90.
89, 90.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah.
That was when I was born, 89.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So in fact, what we can say here, Andrew, I've got you here, okay? I've got you. In fact, what we can say is, listen, you halted your old man's career.
Yeah, I did.
And so because you were born, he kind of had to stop.
Yeah,
Anyway, that got in the way.
He retired his professional career after I came to
Because thank you. My coffee has arrived. Lovely. Thank you. Thanks, Andy. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. So come on, tell the story then. In the tree or no? In the V in the tree.
Yeah. So it came out, and my dad, he played a lot of country districts cricket, club cricket for many years, and loved this cricket. Still does. So he was an opening bat, and he used to smoke it. He used to send it all parts of the ground.
Right.
And so his famous line was, "If it's in the V, it's in the tree, and if it's in the arc, it's out the park." Okay. So that's kind of where. That's where I got it from. And he still is not happy with me in that interview because I said that he played, like hit and giggle, like country districts cricket, and the slogan just came like from there. And then he listened to the interview, and it was basically like, bro, look, this is like proper test match cricket that we played. This is not hit and giggle. This is like serious cricket. So I'd like to correct that. There was some serious test match cricket that he used to play.
Okay.
And it was in the V in the tree.
Okay, yeah, right. And whilst we might laugh about it, and I know you'll have a joke about it and had a joke about it with him back then. One, when was the first time that you heard that? And two, when was the first time it became legit? Because it is. And up to this point, speak about you as a hitter, you as a batter who is confident of his power and is assured of his power, even more so now in the latter stages of your career, that if anything is there, that's what you do, and that's what's expected of batters these days. So, yeah, kind of talk about that journey.
So as I mentioned, he played some serious test match cricket in country districts and club cricket and that. But as a youngster, always on the side of the field, playing with the other kids, whether it was tennis or soccer or cricket on the sideline and stuff like that. So we were always sporty growing up. And then I would probably say when I was about 9 or 10, I kind of figured this whole slogan out of my dad's in the V in the tree. And then obviously progressed into professional cricket after school, and I played for the Dolphins, but my only opportunity at the time was middle order because I actually opened the batting and batted 3 all my school career.
Oh, right.
So I was predominantly a number 3 batter, and then my standard 9 matric year, I opened the batting for Maritzburg College. And then left school, played professional cricket and batted number 6 because that was the only spot available, and kind of stuck in the middle order ever since. So I suppose batting there and taking the game on in T20 and one day cricket in particular, I then had to not really change my game, but just be more open to taking it on a lot sooner rather than later. Right. Yeah. So that's kind of where it originated from, and then it just was the way the opportunity fell for where I was, and I think it was probably the one game in particular against the Warriors at Kingsmead, long time, I think it was 2009-10, is where, probably 2009, I scored 34 off like 11 balls, and I hit one Rusty Theron. I'll never forget it. So I hit him over Car Corner, the castle corner. So it was in that tree there. It was still one of the sixes that I actually, really enjoyed and kind of remember that particular
crazy that
six.
you remember it. Yeah.
So I kind of took the game on that particular game and just worked out really well off 11 balls. And yeah, my dad really enjoyed that innings and kind of reminded me of in the V in the tree.
It's amazing, isn't it? Because, in fact, I'll ask this. As I'll say 14, 15-year-old, would you have already been dreaming of and having aspirations of playing for South Africa?
Yes, I did. It's so weird because I went to Maritzburg College and I started first team cricket at a young age. I was in grade 9.
So that's
so
15.
I was 14, turning 15. And Maritzburg College is quite a traditional school, and a lot of hierarchy system in place with respecting your elders, and there's certain things in place with respecting the elders.
Seniority, yeah.
And getting picked for first team cricket was quite a massive thing because it was not really taken too well from the older guys. But then started doing nicely in the first team that year and kind of earned the respect through performance. But my second year of first team, which was grade 10, I was 15. I was taking cricket a lot more seriously, and I in the hope of wanting to play cricket once I'm done with school, because schoolwork was never my.
You didn't like it, let's
Nah, I didn't. I was at the back of the class causing trouble and pea shooting, and never really concentrating hard enough.
You didn't like it, yeah. You'd rather have been on a cricket field.
I mean, I was amazing at schoolwork, but really, I was an academic, but I didn't decide to do it. So 15, I did. I always wanted to play for South Africa, but it's at that age, I'll never forget. It's such a big milestone and achievement, and you never know if you're going to ever make it or how far you're going to get. You always just hope, and as the journey unfolds, getting picked for the Dolphins, doing well that season, the following season, getting picked for SAA, slowly but surely you start achieving these milestones, and then getting picked for South Africa becomes a reality. But prior to that, you really just actually have no idea.
Just dreaming.
It's always just a dream.
And would the dreams have been about Test match cricket?
I think.
Yeah, and you kind of know where I'm going with this, right? The timing of your career, just the age at which you are as things kind of unfold, just happens to be that when you finish, it's IPL that kind of starts up. But when you're 15, it doesn't exist, right? So is the dream to play a one-day game? Is it to play a Test match? And batting at, opening in number 3?
To be honest, no. I never had a dream to play white ball or red ball. It was just kind of the thought of playing for South Africa.
Okay.
So I always loved the longer format, and always, would have loved to have played Test cricket. But it was more just a case of getting picked for South Africa and playing for my country. And then, so it was never a format.
Never really defined. And now that it's kind of panned out this way, and it's gone pretty swimmingly, I think people would bite off your hand to have what you have and have had, but you have the luxury of being able to say, do you know what, actually, if I could have, I would love to, maybe I should have, or, maybe if I did that. Do those thoughts come to your mind or no?
No, they don't, Pom. I find going back to the dreaming and hoping of playing for South Africa, looking back on my career now, I have no regrets about my career and what should have, could have happened. Just the fact that I've played the amount of years that I have and games that I've played is really a huge achievement in my own eyes, and just of what what was capable of. And I never would have dreamt of playing this amount of games for my country. So I'm super grateful and happy about that. And yes, not playing even one test match, I still believe that I had it in me to do that. But I think how it worked out in the test team while I was playing ODI and T20 at the time, the test team was really settled. There was a serious, team ahead. JP was there. Just looking at Ashwell, they had AB in the middle order, and I mean there was
then
just
Faf du Plessis after that.
Faf, and then the guys lining up,
Cullis
coming in like in the A side. I wasn't even getting picked for the A side because there was guys in the queue. So it just so worked out that I never got selected. But it's not a regret of mine. I would have loved to have played, but I'm not I don't lose sleep over it that I never played a test match. It's just, it would have been cool to have ticked that box.
Yeah, interesting. And I kind of think of the time somewhere along the line where whilst you were playing, or whilst the South African test team was flailing, and the boat had probably sailed, the ship had already gone, where people said, "Oh, David Miller could," and no doubt it would have got through to you. How did you handle that?
Yeah, it was at the time it was a little bit all over the shop in my mind, because I started off really poorly, to be honest with you. My first class career, my first 6 years, there was no performances at all behind my name. And then my next 4 to 5 years, I put in some seriously good performances, and did really think that I had an opportunity and and would have a crack at it. Temba actually at the time, because we the same age, and we were at SA Colts together, back in the day,
together.
and so played against each other a lot and all of that. But he was more of a test player at the time.
It's almost like your opposite.
The other way around.
Yeah.
And he when JP retired, he actually got the call up. And I mean, it wasn't between him and I. I'm just saying, he got the call up, but there was probably a number of 6 to 7 guys that could have taken that spot in a sense. But he got called up, and then that opportunity then kind of dwindled.
Yeah.
And then Corey van Zyl was the director of cricket at the time, and I hadn't even played SAA still by then. And I wanted to go to CPL, which is in our off season.
Yeah.
And there was an A-side tour, and they wouldn't release me for the CPL. So it was kind of, at the time, it was kind of, you either here or you're there. You're not just playing this and then still playing for South Africa. So it was kind of like, so I just decided at the time, it was probably a year later, I decided I'm actually going to call it, and just pack in the red ball cricket. I was 30, I think I was 30 at the time.
Okay.
So I'd done a good 12 years of first class cricket.
A lot of clarity comes to many at 30.
Yeah.
Believe me. Sometimes it just kind of has to.
Feels like decades ago.
Tell me about fatherhood. You're recently a father.
I am. Pom, it's been a quick transition. I've known my wife for a couple of years now, and things happened quickly. And then got married, and a couple months later she fell pregnant, which is
it's good.
A year ago, just over a year. But Benjamin David Miller is now 4 months old, and it's been honestly the greatest thing ever. I think also, you know, being 35 now, I've kind of, you know, I feel like I know myself extremely well, and I'm very comfortable with my skin and how I just am within myself, and you know, everyone gets to the next phase, next chapter of their life, and it's really come at a good time. I feel like really mature about everything, and it's just it really is amazing to have little Benji. You know, you go and play in front of 40,000 people and you don't really do well, and then come back and he's got no idea what's happened. It's given me a nice big smile, and so it's refreshing, and it gives me a bigger purpose, really.
Sleep?
Been tough.
Yeah?
It's been tough. I must be careful what I say now, because
look, it's all a part of it. It's not separate.
Yeah, so the first 2 months, I was 6 weeks away from home. So Camilla, my wife, was full on. I mean, her mom was there to help out, and so I can't really say it was a tough first 2 months, because I slept pretty well. I was in the hotel room far. But no, they've been on a trip on the RPL with me now, pretty much the whole RPL, for coming on 7 weeks now. And yeah, it's been a change of lifestyle in that department. He's up every 3.5, 4 hours. And the graveyard shift for me is normally when he wakes up 6 to 7 in the morning.
Yeah.
And then he's up for an hour and a half. And he's busy.
Yeah.
And that's when Camilla
needs to
just turns over and says, "It's your turn."
Yeah.
So so I spent a good little morning with him, and but yeah, I mean, the RPL routine, I think, as a lot of people know, is the games are very late. So generally you go to bed late and then you wake up late. So when I say late, I'm talking 10, 11, 12 o'clock you're waking up in the morning. So now waking up at 6, 7,
it's tough.
It's a long day.
Yeah.
So that afternoon nap becomes very important. Very important.
Sorry, I'm cutting into it. Okay. Let's get done so you can go and have a nap.
No.
Yeah, that's nice actually. And I tell you what, it's the story of a whole lot, particularly in your situation, cricket dads and all the rest. And as time has gone by, obviously that's shifted and changed. Families on tour, a whole lot of stuff that would have been different at the start of your career as a youngster. You wouldn't have seen many of the guys with their kids and so forth on tour, whether it's for South Africa or for anyone else actually. Let's talk about IPL as an older guy now who can reflect. One, on the opportunity of it, and IPL as a life changer, and how your life might be different without it. And two, big broad question, it's evolution. So start off with, you're a guy from Maritzburg College, Clifton, is it you went to, yeah?
Correct.
In South Africa, who turns up, and maybe even at the start of it all, some might have kind of looked at T20 cricket and gone, it's a hit and giggle, real cricket is X and whatever and blah, blah, blah. You should be doing that. Some probably at Maritzburg College who would have taught you the game might have gone, come on, Dave, whites. And yet, millions and millions of dollars means you don't have to fuss financially, unlike many who probably could put alongside you. So speak about that and what kind of comes to mind when I lay it out like that.
Yeah, look, it's firstly, I mean, as it's pretty obvious, it is a huge life-changing opportunity for many guys. Depending on the deals that you do get, I mean, they do range, the contracts range from, small to really big. So depending how you go. But I mean, I've been involved in the RPL now, I think this is my 13th year, 14th year.
What was it, 2013?
It's 14 years now, 2011.
2011?
Yeah,
okay.
I was 12th man for the first 2 years, but from 2011. But yeah, I mean, it is something that I remember. Well, I don't know that I don't remember. When was the first RPL game? Was that
2008.
2008. So, and then the one in South Africa
2009.
came about. So I remember in 2008 watching that first game, Kolkata. Brendan McCullum scored that 150 odd, and it just was, it was a mind-blowing experience watching that, and just the intensity, the crowd, the flair, the lights, it was just all so much. And I think probably from that first season kind of fell in love with the RPL, and it has definitely changed world cricket. That's a fact. And being a part of it for so long now has just been, it's been an awesome journey. I've had some really tough times in the RPL as well.
Meaning?
Just in terms of getting through a couple of years where, performance wasn't too great, and then you're in and out as an overseas player because there's only 4 that can play. And it's a long stint. And you can get into a bit of a rut and quite a bad space, which I found myself in 2016-17, I think it was. But overcoming that, kind of just changing my mindset to the fact that, this is a privilege to be a part of, and if I'm not playing in the 11, it's actually okay. I'm still getting paid, and I'm still here as an opportunity to grow my cricket in the nets, different conditions, and kind of saw it as a... Hey, Sanjeev. Sorry.
That's all right.
That was our owner.
All right. Better say hi.
Yeah. Great.
And say nice things.
Loving LSG. No, and then just kind of seeing the opportunity as a positive opportunity rather than being a burden, because when you're in it, sometimes you can, life can get a hold of you, and you sometimes don't necessarily take the appreciate the moments that that you're in. So I'd far rather be here not playing than being on my couch watching at home and thinking, I'd love to be there. Type. So you just got to kind of change your goalpost. But anyway, but be that as may, it's been a fantastic journey. I've loved it. It's changed my career in a positive way as well. 2013, scoring that 100 against RCB. I was kind of in and out of the Proteas team at the time. Being such a big stage here, it kind of puts you back on the map, back in South Africa. In terms of performances, if you do well. So there's so many positives that come out of it, and that's what I've really enjoyed, and I genuinely find it's a tough competition to be a part of, and the games come thick and fast. So you just got to really be switched on, and it's epic to be a part of. It really is.
So to go from, and maybe talk about the kind of evolution of your game. You spoke of being 12th man. You then get into the side. You then do well. You become Killer Miller. And for a long time, you're Punjab. Everybody, whoever, shirts with Miller on the back and that sort of thing. That transition, but then also the dealing, you said 2016-17, the dealing with the pressure of expectation, particularly in a franchise that's not gone well over the years, actually, and every time something happens, it's like, oh, we're looking at this guy to kind of do it. And then past that to shift, go elsewhere, and what is it, become a champion, and then now here. So there are kind of 3 phases to
Correct.
it, and kind of juxtapose those with the development of your game particularly.
Yeah, definitely. I think, it really does just remind me all the time that, just as when you're doing well, you're never on top of your game. You constantly got to adapt. You constantly got to get better. You constantly got to look to learn. And I think that for me was a good turning point in my career, not only RPL, just in my whole career in 2016-17, where kind of felt like I had the stigma that I couldn't play spin as well. So dealing with that and trying to improve, and now not just do well, but do exceedingly well to get that tag off. Now you've really got to perform extra well to say, oh, okay, he can play spin. So it's all of that. But I think it's just constantly wanting to improve and constantly wanting to get better. And then, yeah, my dad always says, you know, the cream does always rise to the top. So in those dark times and in those times, when I say dark, they're
Yeah,
dark,
I know
but
what you
just
mean.
tough
Sport-wise,
in
yeah.
terms of like pressure and what you're dealing with. Just to pitch up every day, it's a new opportunity, a new time to, you know, to do well and get better, and those times shift. Good times come, good times go. Good times, you know, and bad times come and go. So it's just constantly making sure that you at your best whenever you can be.
From pup to Millaby. That's
Yeah.
what they do call you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, now they say toppy or.
Wow, that's in South
Wim
Africa.
or-
They'll say that,
Yeah.
right? But here, the very fact that they feel they must. And there was a youngster who was here.
Arjun.
Yeah.
Arjun, yeah.
So as he's coming past, one feels he can kind of peer through and talk to you, which is a good thing. You don't get that in every change room. I'm sure you're aware of that.
Yeah.
Right. And two, feels that it would be incomplete to just say Dave or to say Miller, and he's got to put the respect on it to say Millaby. And perhaps this is about longevity, perhaps this is about helpfulness, perhaps whatever. What you feel about going from younger to older, and what you might say to youngsters who are starting out in the game, so that the path can be similar.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one. For me, my philosophy on all of this is actions speak louder than words. So for me, I've always wanted to portray, you know, a positive mindset, good training, good attitude, and compete really well in the game. And as I go from young to old, it's imparting the knowledge of, you know, I mean, we're all competing against each other at the end of the day, but it's about actually giving back when you feel that opportunity presents itself at training, you know, reaching out to the younger guys, finding out. I really enjoyed learning from the younger guys, actually, because they're coming through and there's literally zero fear, and they've got, you know, there's so many things that you can learn from the youngsters. So, but for me, it's more actually showing the respect. You know, if you want respect, you need to give respect as well. That's how I've always been that way inclined. You know, it's not just a one-way street. So, yeah, I think it's just being the best person that I can be on and off the field, and particularly in India, I think you would vouch for this. But in India, you know, what happens outside of the game and going through the streets and watching seeing how the people live here. There's a lot of people that are under pressure and, you know, don't have money and struggle for food, but there's a lot of happy people, and they're very hospitable, and the way that they love to show that respect, and I just really enjoy it. It's really an eye-opener coming to India every time. You know, you always think like, kind of like I said earlier, you take things for granted, and then coming to India, it's always just like a little eye-opener. Just remind me, hey, you're actually in a great position, and you're very fortunate to be here, because a lot of people that are struggling in this world. So for me, it's always just a good little check-in with myself when I get to India, and it's a great learning opportunity. And I've always said to my family and friends through the IPL that I just would love more people to visit India, because it really is it's a game changer in terms of what you can learn about how people live.
Yeah, it costs absolutely nothing to be kind, and it is kind of jarring when you turn up in India. It's been many years since I've sort of started coming here, from like playing to now, and the jarring effect elicits gratefulness.
Yeah.
Right. Be grateful for what you have, because you see what others don't have. Right.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely crazy. Okay. As we finish, if I ask this question, I know it's all philosophical and everything. Look at his smile.
I know, I'm so
and you don't,
excited to hear
and you
what-
don't like that sort of thing.
I don't know where this is going.
Yeah. If I said, how would you like to be remembered? So if you could go to the end of it all, not like on your deathbed or anything, just kind of speaking of a cricket career that comes to an end. So when you're 40, you can't play. You certainly can't play here. You can play all those old fogies stuff, with the guys who are done. But in terms of as a cricketer, how would you like to be remembered? Have you ever thought about that?
It's a good question. I like these questions because it makes me think. I have thought about it, but not as deeply as right now. But yeah, Pom, I think for me, being the middle order batsman that I've been for my career, I have always tried to pride myself on finishing games, and I'd love to be remembered as a great finisher of the game. And that's just a personal thing for me that I kind of, it keeps me on my edge. It keeps my competitive juices going at training when I feel like I'm drifting a bit or my body's not feeling too great. You just check in with yourself and, what do you want to achieve? And it's to actually be a great finisher. So, get the job done now in training and have a good purpose to training and that sort of thing. So that's one part. But I think as I've, being free and playing my way is something that I've always wanted to do, because there's multiple coaches in the world and you go through from team to team to team and they've all got their ideas and thoughts, and as I've got older, you realize, you can't listen to everyone. And what has kind of got me here in the start is my ability, and you've got to trust that ability to, yes, you adapt and you change your game here and there and whatever, but ultimately as a player you have to play it your way, because that's when you're under pressure you always go back to your way. So stick to my way, so freedom and a good thinker of the game, because I find chasing, I like to work things out. I like to not just boom 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 and get out. I want to be responsible within playing my game, and that's what I love. It's like a chess game for me, so I really thrive on that and I love that. So I don't actually know if I'm answering your question.
You are.
But,
it's all pointing to.
It's kind of play it my way and being a great finisher.
There you go. You distilled it in the end, but you can't. I put you on the spot, so you have to kind of think about it as.
It's like
as
chasing. There was a bit of
calculation.
There was a little bit of panic, and we settled the ships.
Yeah.
And we've managed to get over the line, and we just brought it all together.
Put it all together, and now you can punch the air, and everything's good. Okay, let's finish off. Greatest game ever to you, whether you're playing in it or not. So if I asked you, great, and you have the liberty and luxury because you're a cricketer and you play and have played many games. You've also watched many games. But if I asked you for greatest cricket game ever, which one would you pick out?
Sure, that is a tough one, but can I say two?
Yeah.
So the semi-final against New Zealand, 2015.
Okay.
The one that we lost.
Yeah.
For me, it was an incredible game. We obviously had opportunities to win, and so did they, and they ended up winning. But just the ebb and flow of that game, the intensity and the loudness of the crowd was absolutely incredible to kind of be a part of. It was such an intense game, and it just felt like it lasted forever, because there was obviously rain came, then we went back on, there was delays in the game, they came off to a flyer. We were setting up our total really well. We were on the way to 350 plus.
And then it rained.
Then it rained. Then they came they scored a flyer, and then we got wickets, and then it just was that. It sucks that we lost the game.
Yeah.
But it was a great game to be a part of. So that's one of them. And then probably the 100 that I scored against Australia in Durban. Don't know the year, it was 2017-18. We actually beat
350 them. Or something?
Yeah, I think it was 360,
more,
70, something like that.
More, yeah.
And Andile Petliquayo and I finished off at the back end there, but that game also was probably one of my most enjoyable hundreds, knowing that what we were chasing, and we were in a little bit of trouble at one stage, and again ebbed and flowed. We were in the game, then we lost a wicket, and it kind of was just on the edge the whole time. So for me, those two games really do stand out.
Okay. Who do you consider the best finisher, apart from yourself, in the game? And I'm assuming you'd have studied some along the way. And so who took your fancy?
Well, Lance Kloosner back in the day was a left-hander, and don't take this personally, Zulu, but I was never like a guy that's growing up was like, he's my idol or he's my hero or whatever. So I just loved watching him play, but never, I want to be like him. But it was just the way that he went about his business was really, really great to see and watch. Obviously MS Dhoni, Michael Bevan, which I never watched a lot of games with him
just
playing,
seen
but
clips,
just apparently unbelievable.
I can tell you.
Yeah, so in my time, MS Dhoni, definitely just the way, I just love the way that he goes about his business, and he is a really calm character, as we all know, but clever about how he goes about things. He can hit sixes at will, but he's very calculated with his twos. He runs a lot of twos. I've noticed that if there's, he doesn't just look for fours and sixes every ball. He'll go 2-2-2, 4. Yeah. Anyway, so for me, probably MS Dhoni.
Yeah. So those three guys you've picked out of the top drawer there. Talking about twos, probably ahead of his time, Michael Bevan, and many who won't have seen him. Unbelievable. Wanting to be a finisher. Zulu also, Lance Kloosner ahead of his time, just with the boundary hitting. Never mind everything else. He obviously had to have everything else in order to be able to do it, but under pressure and just finishing games. And then MSD is probably in your time, right? Because you play against him and all of that. Nice. Okay. Final question, and we're gone. We've got to go and do a gym session, right?
Yeah.
That's true. Then we go and do a gym session.
I'm not doing my gym instructor. He's my gym instructor this afternoon.
Not doing his gym session. I wouldn't make it to work otherwise.
I'm going to be lifting the gym upside down today.
The greatest influence on your career, if you could pick somebody, could you kind of distill it to one, or would you say, and I say greatest because there are things that happen and things that help you, but you might look at one and say, without this, there's no my career, not in the way that it's kind of turned out.
I think in a long career that I've had, there would always be a lot of influence throughout, where it comes and goes. But one sticks out and is very constant is my father. Literally, he's watched every single game of mine from 9 years old. My father's always been there. He knows my game inside and out. Although he's not my coach. A couple of years early on in my career, He just is so passionate about cricket and just loves the game so much. And early on in my career, I would come back from wherever and he would be just wanting to talk about cricket and just chat and like just get through the nuts and bolts. And eventually I'm just like, Dad, I love you so much, but I just want to switch off. Like, let's park this chat now. And since that conversation, he's been really, really good with the balance of how he goes about things. He knows when he needs to message me. He knows when to, just to boost me with certain things. If I'm feeling a little bit down, he'll throw out like a couple stats here and there about, did you even know this about yourself, and just my father's definitely been number one.
I only want number one.
Constantly.
I don't want number two. No, we don't. Why? Okay, tell me who you're gonna go to.
No. I was my father. Constantly instilling the competitive edge in me from a young age. Just silly.
And the belief.
Silly things, not silly actually, but like little
important
things.
So dads end up being, if they do it right, they end up being number one fan. Number one supporter, number one psychologist, right?
Yeah.
Because they sort of come up with you'll get it with Benjamin, don't worry.
I'll never forget. So going like early on, so I played for the Dolphins and, I was pretty young at the time, and club cricket back then was, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, but it was I think a lot more competitive back then. I think nowadays club cricket is just struggling a little bit. Yeah. We had gas bowlers then. Nowadays they're slow.
I'll stop you. This is what all older people say.
So back in my time it was a lot harder. But no, and I was playing Dolphins and my dad took me to, I didn't have my license at the time, so he took me to a club game in Durban. I was 19 years old. And, can think like, club cricket, it's a level down, it's this, it's that. On my way to club cricket, he's telling me, my boy, you need to be switched on today. You're the young pro, you need to lead from the front. In your warm-ups, in your game, in whatever you do, you need to stand out in whatever it is, in your attitude and stuff. And he said, I want you to imagine you're playing at Lord's in front of 40,000 people. I mean, there was probably 2 guys with their dogs walking around the ground there, Chatsworth Oval.
Yeah.
40 degrees and it was about 100% humidity.
Yeah.
But just, small little things like that along the way that just kind of remind you, or me, the whole time, just keep pushing. So the standards need to be high, and he set them for me, so it was good.
Okay. Ladies and gents, Killer Miller, Pup. I won't repeat all the others. Thanks
so much, Pommie.
Appreciate it. Yeah, nice one.